Hey there, traders, future market wizards. Sam Warner-Bake here, Teach the World to Trade. This is part of the Start Here series on my YouTube channel. It's where I'm putting my practice in. I'm not a YouTube star, not yet anyway. Like you're probably not a trader yet, but with a little bit of help, me practicing my work on camera and you hopefully listening to some of my lessons that I've gained over the past 20 years of teaching traders in institutions, lecturing trading in top 10 UK business school, setting up international trading academies, as well as trading myself profitably for 20 years. I can give you a few hints and tips and maybe some positive learning which are going to help you on your way. This first video in this kind of start here, welcome to the channel section of my YouTube channel is about trader misconceptions, and there's a lot of them. Over the years, I've interviewed thousands of people around the world who want to become traders, and I've had to debunk a lot of myths around trading. I mean, the main one is it's not as easy as a lot of these online trading accounts and marketeers make it look. I mean, essentially, there's a lot of companies out there that want you to trade. A lot of people want to trade because they see it as a easy route or a quick route to riches and spinning around in Lambos and Rolex watches and Gucci bags and whatnot. But it's hard graft. It's hard work, and that's something that's been prevalent for the past 20 years and for many years where trading existed before my time of entering the market. So yeah, it's not easy. It's not a get rich quick scheme. I think there's a bit more kind of education around this, but you've got to lay it on the line. For me, when I entered the markets, and I knew this, and a lot of the senior traders that were from the old trading floor were saying this to me, like, it's hard graft, it's not easy. One would go on to say, there was one guy that was standing over me all the time as a junior trader. Again, this game's over was his famous saying to me. This game's over. What are you going to do when this doesn't work for you? And I was like, Jesus, I'm like a couple weeks in to my job here, and you're standing over me all day saying, you haven't got a chance, basically. And 20 years later, I've been profitable every year. I won't name and shame him on my first video of my YouTube channel, but it's something that you have to kind of take on. It's not impossible though. And I'm a guy that hope is one of my strong points. Optimism. I've always been very optimistic, as well as hardworking. And I think that the mix of optimism and hard work really helps success and helps me succeed. So you've got to know, if you're starting trading or you've done a little bit and you're going down that rabbit hole of wanting to learn more and upskill yourself, it's possible. Okay, it's just hard. Anything's possible. It's just really hard, right? There's a lot of coaching things, analogies that I use for this. People had never run the 4-minute mile before, said it could never be done, and people never thought you could climb Everest. Now there's queues of regular Joes. Well, they've done a good bit of training to get up to Everest. Our highest peak, go to the moon, loads of stuff. And it just changes, and then we advance every year, and things. We keep moving the goalposts as society, right, of what we can achieve, of achievement. And that's why now you can achieve access to the markets probably easier than ever, cheaper than ever. And you can have that opportunity to become a trader. It's just you've got to do it properly. And it's kind of my motivation to start this YouTube channel, to start my Teach the World to Trade website and platform and business, and write a book. I've written a book, Learn to Trade Like a Professional, because I feel the education that I've been giving to institutions and professionals, as well as top tier universities, that needs to be distilled to help people who have got that ease of access now to the markets, but their education level hasn't caught up. The access has accelerated, but I think the level of education and training for people like yourselves hasn't caught up. So that's what I'm here to do. So debunking some myths of trading, it's not easy, but it can be done. And that's kind of what I want to make clear from the start. I've got to check my notes as I'm going through this. I've written a few notes. Okay, it's about finding the right strategy. It's very clear. It's professionals. We don't think about one strategy per se. We think about a multitude of markets and strategies that we can employ on those markets. It's kind of getting that clear mindset of a trader. That's what's really important, and that's something that I always teach. It's kind of having that mindset. I trade tons of markets. I have obviously my favorites. My favorites are the ones where I can see them clearly and I can see opportunities clearly, and then I'll trade them probably more than others. But I have that opportunity because I understand my own process that I'm going to be showing and demonstrating, and that I have that preparation phase, the process, and then I practice. I have the same kind of blueprint all the time for every market that I trade. Trade primarily futures. I have traded options before. A lot of stocks, single stocks, indices, a lot of crypto. I'm a multi-asset trader. There was a saying in my office: if it moves, you can make money out of it, essentially, because you just take that discipline onto that market. So we spoke a little bit about that mental model. Then, really, as professionals, we think in terms of decision making. A lot about probability. It's a lot of trying to. I always said to my traders and myself, these markets are 50-50. At the end of the day, you can either buy or sell, flip a coin, 50-50. And our job is to get that probability of success as close to 100 as we can manage. It's very rarely near 100, but with your work and your process in that decision making and that discussion of risk with yourself, once you're going through that process, you can get yourself at least better than 50-50, right? Which any average Joe in the street should have a 50-50 chance. So that trade and your trade, each trade is just one decision in a long series. Every time, a junior trader would make a mistake, I think it's the end of the world. And then it was my job as a coach and their manager to say, listen, you're going to hopefully have thousands of trades throughout your lives, and just one trade, it's a lesson. I have a mantra here, teach the world to trade, and something I've always kept with myself throughout my trading career is win or learn, right? There is no lose. It's feedback over failure, really. You've got to pluck those lessons, and that's part of the process that I teach very much. So when you dig into it, you've got to accept that uncertainty is a standard. There's nothing certain in the markets. In my 20 years of trading, over 20 years now, nothing shocks me. I mean, even in the past, we're in the start of 2026 and we're 1 month in. We've already had the threat of Europe being invaded by America, the threat of war in Iran. You have gold and silver going parabolic, which is rising faster than anyone would have anticipated, and then crashing just as quick. Calls for oil to be $50 at the start of the year, and then it hit $70. This sort of stuff. That's just in a month. And I'm seeing personally, and the senior traders that I speak to that have been in the game a long time, we're seeing this more and more. We're seeing these more shocks in the markets than ever before. And the advent of crypto, I think this is just making it even more irrational. We'll talk about later that irrationality in markets throughout the course of these videos, really. But yeah, the markets are always moving. Being right is not the goal. We're just trying to have good process. I mean, that sounds kind of weird. Being right isn't the goal, but you need to be comfortable with how you're employing your process. So even if you're wrong, you're right, because you have your predetermined risk. Again, that's something that we'll dig into further down the line. Process over outcome is kind of what we were talking about there, really, I suppose, leading on to that. I talk about a process that I have dug out over many years of teaching traders, and the trading group that I worked for many years had 14 offices, I think 15 offices around the world, and I was privileged to back test all of their methodology in trading, and over 5 years, and extract that methodology to develop the new training process for new traders. So that is where the process comes from. A simple process: identify, execute, manage, and evaluate your trades. And it's all the professionals that I've worked with, including myself, obsess over the process and make sure that there's many facets to each of the four pillars, and you have to obsess over improving every one of those facets within each pillar. And that's what creates a successful trader. So the outcomes are almost secondary to good process. Okay. And you'll find that in most successful sectors of life, really, as well as business and economics. It's about nailing down those processes, and good process leads to good outcomes. Even doing my deep dive on what do I need to do to start a YouTube channel and be successful and connect to the audience and achieve maximum coverage, there's a process. So you've got to follow the process. So this is what I'm doing now to try and help you out, try and get myself projected out on YouTube in the best possible way, so you can see my authenticity as an expert in my field, and you feel comfortable listening to me and hopefully learning something. So here we go, and here we are. So process over outcome. I'm doing my process on YouTube, hopefully telling you about the process that I use for traders and teaching traders around the world and myself. So that's a key contrast to a lot of kind of retail traders and amateurs that I speak to that are trying to chase outcomes. And it's certainly something that it's the basis of my book that I've written, and all my training is nailing down that preparation phase before you even get to the process. So you need to understand your outcomes and what you're trying to achieve. We talk about lead and lag measures, and that's something that we'll look into as well. But then it's getting those lead measures and filtering them into your process. And that's the key thing. And that's all that you need to worry about, because money's always been a byproduct of trading for me, certainly. And it's about understanding the mystery of the markets and how I'm going to employ my energy and knowledge and everything that encompasses me into those markets to then get the result. And it's kind of tinkering everything before I enter the markets, which will achieve the best result, I guess. And that is the process. And once that's nailed down, I know exactly. I have an anchor. I have lots of anchors in trading to go back to help me garnish those results. What this channel isn't was my next point of call that I was going to talk about. So when I thought about this teach the world to trade concept and taking what I've done professionally and bringing it to the mass market, really the wider market, I did some searching online about someone must be doing this. I'm not really big on, so I was kind of like an early adopter of social media when it first came out, and then I gave up on it because it was a massive distraction. I was like, I don't need this in my life. And then I went back on it to do a deep dive on, I wonder what's out there. I wonder what's going on in the trader education space. I saw a lot of what we call snake oil salesmen. The snake oil salesmen, from back in the day that used to go around in their horse and cart and sell snake oil as a magic potion, essentially. And I saw a lot of that online. I was like, wow, people driving around in rented Lamborghinis and renting, which is what I later found out they did. These Instagram stars, they rent out Lamborghinis, they rent out nice hotel rooms to do their filming in, and saying, hey, follow me, give me some money and follow me, and I'll give you the signals and predictions in the markets, and you can have my life, sort of thing. And I was like, wow, like that's a lot of BS. What's their credentials? What's their history? And they didn't. They were YouTube stars. That's why I'm not a YouTube star yet. I've got to work on that. But you won't be seeing me driving around in rented Lambos or any of that shenanigans. And I'm not about signals or predictions, and I'm not about quick wins, and I'm not trying to sell you that per se. What I'm trying to sell you is I know what I'm talking about, and I want to help you on your journey to trading success. Or, as I've been coaching someone quite recently, is one thing he said is, you've saved me tens of thousands of pounds with your coaching, because I would have just run in, and I would have gone in like a bull in a china shop, and I would have tried to maximize my gains without the thought processes that you've given me in the anchors. And like that, to me, we have a saying in trading: one, stop losing money; two, make money. Okay, so if I can help you stop losing money to start before you get on your journey to make money, I mean, that's gonna help me, and that's what I'm here to do as much as possible. I'm trying to be that authentic voice that's going to help change your life, or help you in your life, and get you from where you are now to where you want to be as a trader. Okay, so no flashy signals, no driving around in Lambos to go say, follow me, you'll get a Lambo sort of thing. Just trying to get you to learn the skill properly, because trading is a skill, and I've said that for a long time. I have proven that I can teach anyone anywhere how to trade. I've done it professionally. I've done it around the world, and I will go out on a whim and say that. And it's true. And I've written a book with that whole trading philosophy and that process all written down that will be coming out this year. It's getting published, and I'm going to be here on YouTube to try and help you do that too. Okay, so that's the first video. Just a short one to get you going on our little start here section. What's going to come next is going to be an outline why most people lose money, and maybe what the real trading process will look like, and why risk is so important. Okay, I encourage you to watch this playlist in order. You'll learn a bit more about me as we go, and a few more of the stories of traders that have succeeded and those that have failed, and hopefully that information will help you on your own journey.